building a family doesn't look the same for everyone. Different roads for different parents, and we all get there uniquely. You're listening to Mothers in Arms. I'm your host, Leslie Lopez. This is part 2 in conversation with Hollis Wilder. In the process of Hollis talking about her balancing act adoption process, she shared with me what happened to her when she was a toddler and the repercussions of that heinous act. It shakes me, honestly, to talk about this subject, having a personal connection via victims I know closely. My intention is to have a safe place for those that struggle with these scars. When we speak about what happened to us is where the healing is. I'll get into sexual abuse a bit more on social media because it does really hit home for me. Even though this subject is not about third-party reproduction, it's something that we can actively be aware of. It's a parent's worst nightmare. It's a victim's worst nightmare. Without further ado, let's get into this. You were talking to me a little bit about risking yourself with the idea of, can I be a parent? Can I take that plunge given my situation, given all the challenges in front of me? When you decided that you wanted to become a mother and you were like, how, I have this in front of me. What was the process? What did you think about to say, yes, I'm going to risk it and do this?
Okay, so when I was little, I had a childhood mostly like everybody else. I like to say, in the past, I would say unlike others. But the more I do and the more I talk about what happened to me in my childhood, the more I realize that I'm not alone. And, some people like me, I can rise from that and see it years later as a learning tool, as a way to inspire and help others through that darkness that I had. So I was sexually abused by my mom, which is a very interesting thing because, mothers are the most important part of humankind. We are the
I'm so
source of birth,
sorry.
right? We are the source of birth. We are Mother Nature. We are the vessel, right? We are the cup. I mean, this is what we are. We are the vessel. We are the cup of creation. And so oftentimes when people talk about having woundedness in their relationship with their mother, it's very important for that to get healed in order to be able to continue not only to just grow in your own strength as a female and empower yourself, but also to birth someone else, right?
Yes. Yes.
So when you've been introduced to sex before you discovered it on your own, the violation is monumental.
Hollis, if I can ask you, how old were you when it started?
Well, I know that it happened before I was 5 because I know that I was the height of my grandfather's bathroom sink commode in his bathroom.
You remember
I was
that
the height of it.
bathroom.
Yeah, I remember everything about that bathroom and the height. And then when you're that tall, you can also see other things. So I remember all of that.
So your body is, you're a child. You don't know, you haven't even hit puberty. You're so innocent.
Yeah, I was under 5. And then it went on past that.
Gosh.
And my memories, so it was between my mother and my grandfather.
Your mother's father?
Yeah, so my mother sexually abused me and then also did her father.
Gosh,
And I don't think that they had like a conversation about it.
it was separately.
No, they weren't in the same room with me, but let me just put it this way, okay? When you're perpetrated upon, you perpetrate, right? So it is a cycle. So my mom and my grandfather probably did not sit down and say, well, on Tuesday I get her, and on Friday, not to make it like even darker than it is. But I don't get the sense of that. And so the reason that I know that we perpetrate is because then when that happened to me, I did it to my brother. And my brother was little. And I was little. So he was probably I guess I put him around the 5 or 6 year old mark, and I was 6 years older than him. So I'm 12, 11 or 12. It didn't last very long, but I approached him in exactly the same way that I had been approached.
Which was like, you mean how you brought it up to him? Is that's what you mean?
Well, no, it was a very predator. It was a very predatory act. Yeah, it was a predatory act. So I approached him. He was playing on the floor with toys. I approached him. I told him exactly what I wanted him to do. And I showed him exactly what I wanted him to do. And if he didn't do it, I got really mad at him. And then I told him that, basically he was a worthless piece of shit. And that if he told anybody, I would kill him. That's kind of the script that happens. And I was little. Thank goodness it stopped there. Like, for whatever reason, it wasn't something that I carried on. And so when I went to get pregnant, I couldn't get pregnant. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that's the way I always thought since I was a little girl. And then we also talked about the womb and the woundedness from my mother. So it really makes sense that my vessel was my vessel.
Composted.
It was poisoned.
Right. Your vessel, right. It had a lot of challenges, and I could understand why you wouldn't want to be a mother, or at times feel that way. Because I think we all feel differently about being a mom or being a parent here and there at times in our life. But having gone through what you've gone through, well, that makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm. I just have to say that talking about this like I am right now, I worked really hard to get to this place where I can have this kind of conversation and help other people.
I mean, it's predators live in everybody's family, right? Like it's like you don't know it. They're there, especially, I mean, I'm Latina, so, it's like, I don't know a family that doesn't have an experience with some type of predator amongst them, my family included, like it's rampant. Do you remember a point where you were like, I need to stop doing this? Like what went through your head?
I tried to do it with my brother's friend, and he was the same age.
And he was the same age.
He was the same age, and he was like, hell to the no. Like, he was absolutely not. Like, he fought me. So that was
Good
a
for
wake
him.
up. That was a wake up. He fought me, which was really incredible.
Yeah.
Predators, they prey on
The weak.
the weak. They prey on the ones that don't have, you know.
I shouldn't say though just the weak. I mean, on all kinds. The predators prey on all kinds of
Or
people, even the strong. You know.
yes, of course. But they do. I mean, I guess just based on my own experience watching how predators work and the psychology behind it,
Yeah.
they, they take an assessment of all the children, and then they figure out which ones they can groom.
Yeah, and the more families don't talk about, like, if your mother had talked about it, or if you know what I mean. I mean, obviously these are different generations, right? But there isn't a lot of talking about it with like family members or friends. You know what I mean? It's just not talked about. And putting the lid on it and putting the carpet tape it. And that doesn't make it not come
Nope.
up. The monster comes up.
Makes it worse.
I'm so grateful that this was a safe place to talk about this for you. And I know that people listening to your words, are who find themselves in a similar position are going to feel grateful for hearing you say your truth, honestly, the way you just said that. And as you know, my like I said, my family literally firsthand, I know how it affects family members. And and yes, even with my daughter, I worry like hell about like sleepovers, or not that she's gone on any, but yeah, like you just don't know how other adults are, right? You just can't, it's like a permanent, I don't trust people.
Well,
She will
very
never go on a sleepover.
no,
Like,
mine didn't. They will always have the friends over because it's way
right.
too hard to manage it. And then the doorbell rings unannounced. And the neighbor boy comes over to visit the older brother. And the parents are watching a movie, and the kids are doing popcorn and watching it themselves. And the little girls are doing what they're doing. And one of the little girls is intrigued. And she goes down to the basement and she almost gets raped. That was me, because she's a little girl and the boy is attractive and she wants to flirt with him because that's what we do. That's what little girls do. We don't know. We just know that, oh, that's interesting. We go downstairs in the basement. Everybody else is asleep. He's up. He's watching shows or whatever. And we go down and we're beautiful. We're perfect little, beautiful, innocent creatures. And why wouldn't a teenage boy want to take advantage of that? So you end up running upstairs, terrified, and you don't go back downstairs. Thank goodness I wasn't raped. But those kinds of situations happened to me because I did not have a person, a parent like us, who has protected our children, who speaks to our daughter and our son.
But having that on your plate, you had obviously found a way to push past it, and then you had these children, right?
Mm-hmm.
um how did you navigate those first years?
Well, I never wanted to abuse them sexually, ever. Never crossed my mind. Thank God.
You
Um,
had done the work before, and not to say that you would, or that's not what I insinuated
no,
in
no,
any
but I
way.
wanted to just be clear that because I was sexually abused and beaten, that didn't come up for me. Was I aggressive? Is it difficult to be a mom? Absolutely, it's hard. And did I have to catch myself when I was in a place? But I have to tell you that my mother was bipolar undiagnosed when she was raising me. And so she would go on rages and push me down the stairs and
Was she?
mhm.
What do you tell your children about your mom and that experience? Have you ever spoken to them about the abuse?
Mhm. I started telling them about that when they were 13, 14,
Okay.
incrementally.
Was that scary? Was that a challenging conversation to like get
They wanted
yourself
to
ready
know,
to talk to about?
they wanted
No?
to know why my mom wasn't in my life.
Ah,
I wasn't talking to my mom for 25 years, so
right.
or 22 years, something in that range. And so she wasn't at the birth of the children. She wasn't at my wedding. She wasn't in my life at all. And I did that for my safety because I needed to be able to create who I am now. And I couldn't do that with that connection, which was so confusing.
So confusing. Is she in your life now?
Yes, we talk probably every day or every other day.
It's amazing. How old is she now?
She's 81.
Bless her.
She's wonderful. And we're very transparent with one another. And when I brought her back into my life, which was, I think, 6 years ago,
Wow. Okay.
pre pandemic. So it might have been more like 7 years.
Gosh, I'm exhaling for you because I'm imagining that conversation when you finally, reached out to talk to her, however that came about, but what you must have felt like to see her after all that time that passed. And she must have looked so different after all those years passed also.
Yes, it was really interesting. And I had done a lot of work on not getting my emotional needs met through my mom. And I also knew that she would never tell me the truth. She would never tell me anything because, you know, people in denial like to create a fortress around that. It's too painful. And they don't remember it a lot of times. It never happened. So,
So true.
really true, right? And so when we did start speaking to each other, um, my childhood came up and she said, "So what is it about that?" And I had sent her a letter years previous, and I just went through it again with her. It was really interesting. It was on a phone call, and she stayed on the call the entire time. And which was also, I mean, I was very detailed. And, poor me, the victim, she was like, "How could you treat me this way?" All of the things that are classic that an abuser says. And then the call ended, and we'd already had a plan to meet in person, just the two of us. And I thought, well, she's probably going to cancel that. But within a week, she called back. And when she did, I said, "I respect that you have a different idea about what happened in my childhood. And we have different stories. And my expectation is that you're going to honor mine as well as I'm honoring yours. And that we're going to start a new relationship based on today."
Wow. Was part of your motivation then also because did your children meet her shortly after that?
They did. I wanted to do that. But then the other thing was I wanted to make it clear that we weren't playing any games with one another. And I did this because I needed to have that piece of forgiveness in order to get my vessel clean for myself. And I knew that if I did not do this in my lifetime, that I would have to come back and do it again. And I also saw myself at her graveside and then carrying this on without having ever had a conversation with her. And I said, I am not going to live this way. And I did it for myself.
Most importantly.
Got to be selfish. You have to do things for
Yeah,
yourself.
it's so important to put yourself first. There's nothing to give if you don't. You talk about you said this, and it stuck with me. Get yourself out the door and out of your head. Being pissed off is aging and repels positivity. Like, I need this on a t-shirt. It's so true, right? Like, I think that maybe those were that was a little mantra that helped you call your mom, and I can see how that's sort of really stuck, or something that it's really driven you. Thank you for sharing all of this today. It means a lot.
And what you're doing with Mothers in Arms is just extraordinary work, and what you're doing in the community and sharing your own experience, strength, and hope, and being so honest about what your story is just like just breathtaking and gorgeous. And I'm so happy.
Namaste.
Namaste to you.
No, truly, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in. You can check out more of these and similar stories on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok at mothersinarms.pod. If you take a few seconds, please, to like and rate the episode on whatever platform you're listening on, thank you. It goes a long way to getting the word out on this little podcast. Until next time, friends.